What's up, friends? Welcome back to the TV Terminal. My name is Adam Vale, senior editor over at thecoalition.com.
My name is Lawrence, aka a punk with toys on all the social medias.
And we are back. Surprise, surprise, for episode 2.
It's been like 5 minutes since you saw our last episode.
Exactly. Everything's
It's
exactly the same.
It's been a week for us, right?
Oh, look at you pulling back the curtain already, pulling it back. Yes, it's been a week, probably a week.
Well, come on, let's just explain it. So Amazon is dropping 3 episodes of a 7-episode series on day 1.
Why?
So we so you guys know, I hope you guys understand, we're not watching this when they come out and then reviewing them, because that would be almost impossible. And they have 3 episodes, which means we have to kind of get them in the bag so we can drop all 3 episodes at once. So if you do watch all 3 episodes on day 1, you can tune into us.
Yeah, discussing it and get our thoughts and your thoughts, put in the comments how you think this is all going to play out. A lot of craziness happening in all this. So this is the Terminal List, Dark Wolf, its own show, as we discussed in the first episode. This is not season 2 of the Terminal List. This is a new spinoff, a new series with Ben Edwards. So this title of this episode 2, is The Audition.
And I think it's safe to say that after watching episode 2, you really don't need to watch. And I'm not telling you not to go watch the Terminal List, but you don't have to have watched that season at all, right? I mean, it has nothing to do with it.
It's a prequel. So there's none of this like, oh, I should know this. Oh, I don't know.
So let's say let's say you didn't watch the Terminal List. If you don't know who James Reese is, and he's obviously Chris Pratt's character, it doesn't really matter, because you get to know him in episode 1, and I would say episode 2, as much as you need to know him for this series. But before we get into it, please, if you haven't yet, take a second, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time we drop. What is the Terminal List? Dark Wolf.
Yep, Dark Wolf. As you know, our format, we cover the full season of these shows. So when we pick a show, you're going to see us every week. People have noticed that with Dexter, Mobland, all the other ones. So knock on wood, we haven't come across a really bad show yet that we're like, oh, this episode sucks. Why are we doing this? We're going to poo-poo this episode all week, all month. So far, it hasn't happened. We've had some luck with these shows that we've picked so far. So
what I think we're also picking stuff that I can't say everything, because we were in the dark when it came to Murderbot.
Yeah,
but I think that turned out really well.
Yeah, that was funny. We were surprised. And shout out, and that was a big one, because this is also based off of books, but that one's sci-fi, and a lot of people that did sub and jumped in with their comments were all into the books, which Lawrence and I have not read. And these people were not mean about it. We were clear. We're honest people. We're just saying, hey, we're watching it for the show, just for what we see. We can't do the comparison. Yeah. And thankfully, people in the community were understanding, and they filled in the blanks, which is great.
No, and that's great. And again, if you know something, if we miss something, maybe if we say something wrong and you're like, no, that's not what happened, please let us know. And again, it's easy to give someone constructive criticism or correct someone in a polite way without being a total tool about it and yelling and screaming how you're wrong and you know nothing. That's my dog Roman, not me.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I constantly explain it to other people, not here, but outside. And we're not giving a whole professional breakdown of everything. We're 2 guys discussing the show just like you would with your buddies right after watching something, and then giving our thoughts. And we want you guys to do the same. That's it. Just jump in, talk. We're talking about the shows that we like to talk about. So that's all. All right. And speaking of that, let's get into the show. We got that whole recap. I don't know. Some people don't like that, but I do. I see nothing wrong with that. If it's quick, not too long, it's like previously on, that type of thing. And it shows everything and pretty much what happened in the last episode.
Well, normally you're going from week to week. This might be a little redundant if you are watching all 3 episodes where you're like, why do I have to?
Yeah. I saw it already.
If someone isn't, then, or they watch an episode and then maybe they don't realize the second episode is dropped right then.
Yeah, exactly. It's even better for, let's say, people that walk away from a show for a while. Life takes over, things happen. You come back, it's like, what happened in that episode previously on. Oh, okay, thank you.
I have a few of those I have a few of those TV shows that I've been watching, and then for some odd reason something happens, and you start watching something else, and then you're like, "Where was I at?" And you're like, "Oh, thank you, narrator. You have told me what I missed."
Exactly. There we go. Now we all know. So it starts off with all the soldiers out on the tarmac area lined up. We see Ben in his camouflage, and everyone's there just all waiting for something to happen. And Captain Cox walks out, and we know something bad's going to happen. And he calls for Ben Edwards to step forward. And then we get that jump to the meeting.
Well, actually, I don't. Did that happen first?
Because it was a quick cut. Remember, they showed that, and
yeah, they have the music. They walked out, and then
we had Leonard Skinner, Simple Man, playing. Yep.
Yeah. So they jumped to the team leaders trying to get their story straight, and again, here we have pretty much, Ben Edwards, the main character, pretty much saying, "No, I'm not. I don't want you guys to take the fall. I did this on my own." Reese had come up with his, "Hey, this is a story. Like, this is what we're going to go. We're all in agreement." I don't think Hastings was fully on board with that. He seems more like he's all vested in, but I don't feel like he is. So I feel like he wants to do everything by the book a little bit more.
Well, I'm sure we'll find out more about his family. They talk a little bit about this when they meet the CIA old man Jed.
I think he's a military brat.
Yeah, I think his whole family, his dad was in it because he said it. Yeah, he said his dad did something in South Africa and there was some other stuff. So I think it's like one of those, when you join the military, this isn't just for 4 year, whatever. You're a lifer.
Yes.
This is a lifer. So that's what I think. And yeah, I get that vibe also because there was a lot of quick cuts because you were seeing the people outside, you were seeing those one-on-one interviews. So what really happened there? And it's Reese like, I walked in and he had took the shot, but he's a good soldier, a SEAL, and he already knew that it was a clean kill. He said the guy reached for something, and everybody pretty much said the same thing. They all backed him up, which I would assume is what was going to happen anyway, right? Because they understood the situation and they heard what this guy had said. Yeah, it was reckless what Ben did, but they also know the guy was a bad guy.
Yeah, but then we jump to the CIA. Well, the one CIA agent, or there's two CIA agents in there,
and
another female military. And I didn't get her ranking. And then we have Commander Cox, and they're basically saying, we want his trident, and then we want an officer also. So the two officers that it's going to be are either Reese or Hastings. We know it's not Reese because he was
that's the only giveaway right there.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know and again, it wouldn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if you didn't know that, right?
No, exactly. But the thing is, it's just a giveaway to those who did see that season, because then we're like, there would be no terminalist if that was the case. But there was really good, and we got some audio from what the response that Cox mentioned.
When my men die, the dead carry their brothers' tridents with them to the grave. So let's be clear. That's what you're taking from them. You're not just taking some bird off a man's chest. You're stripping him of his soul.
That's deep.
Yeah, and I thought it was a really good. I thought it was a really good speech that he gave. It wasn't like yelling and screaming. He's talking to, again, the CIA does a lot of things, right? I mean, they do a lot of things, right? But not all of them are soldiers, Marines, seamen, airmen, right? They're some maybe, but it also feels like a lot of the military have a problem because these are guys that are going to sit in a room and tell them what needs to be done, knowing they never have to really do anything or what they shouldn't to do.
Yeah. Because I mean, he even says it here. It takes, 58 weeks to go through the whole process, and that only one out of every five actually make it. It's a big process. It's an
And I don't know if
exclusive
those
club.
numbers are right. I would assume they are because too many people, not just Navy SEALs, but too many,
Mhm.
too many sailors. I mean, again, you'd have Marines that would know this. You'd have soldiers that would
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you would
yeah.
know, like, hey, how many people actually
Mhm.
don't make it?
Yeah.
Now, just so you know, it doesn't mean you can't be in special forces if you don't make it in the SEAL.
Yeah, no,
There are other
there's other
yeah, there
divisions
are
and
other
stuff like
special
that.
forces that
Mhm,
also
mhm.
go in with the SEALs or
Yeah, yeah.
go in with, Delta or
Mhm.
snipers,
Yeah,
different
yeah.
things like that.
So many, so many, so many cool ones. But yeah, so they said that's fine. No, we want him. We don't care. And it's funny, he gives that awesome speech. They don't care. They're like, hey, we already ran up the chain. This is happening, but it's not just happening for Ben. We want somebody else to go down with
And
him.
uh,
That's messed up.
but I also think that a lot of this happened because we watched in last episode how Edwards acted when he found out that this guy was an asset, right? So Edwards flipped out, and Hastings was the one. He didn't say anything, and he knew.
Yeah.
Either he had figured it out or he was told about it because he is an officer. Hastings and not Hastings, Edwards is a chief. He's not an officer. He's
No.
basically a sergeant major, I believe.
Mhm.
If
He's the chief. Rafi's lieutenant because he always calls him LT.
Yep,
We got then
Re-
Reese's.
Reese is lieutenant also.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
At least at this point.
At this point. But he's
Um,
going to become bigger boss later. But yeah, so that was messed up. But they were like, all right, so let's see what happens. But I guess they told them in advance. At least Cox did, because then that's when James was like, all right, I'm just gonna do it, because there's a scene with James and Rafi talking about this. And he's like, no, what, I'm gonna do it. It's what I should be doing anyway. And then Rafi's like, no, you got to lead these guys. You got to take this one. So I'm doing it. I want it out anyway.
yeah, I have a feeling that Cox or whoever was maybe right below him or his secretary told him, hey, they want an officer. He's going, but they also want an officer. You guys can kind of decide which one. But
Because
Hastings wants out.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. It's like Cox must have said something, because if not, that would have been a big surprise when he was in front of all the soldiers. Yeah, you grab Ben, and he was like, "Are you Rafi? Come over here. What did I do?" And rip his bird off. Like what?
But with that said, Hastings would be the choice, in my opinion, because it was his chief.
Yeah.
Edwards had just shown up to take over. They were being, remember they were being sent home.
Mm-hmm.
He was taking over. They were doing, I don't know if it's just one mission or whatever, but it's his chief.
Yeah.
And he was also in the room when he flipped out, and he didn't stop him for the longest time. Like he should have controlled him way sooner in that outbreak.
Yeah. Well, then it cuts to back to the first scene that we saw in this episode. All the soldiers lined up. Ben standing in front of Cox. He walks over to him. He gives a little speech about people that have let them down, something to that effect, and just peels off his bird. And then you see Rafi's next to him, and he peels off Rafi's as well.
So it's just held on by Velcro, and it takes away the effect of things we've used to seeing where they'd rip it off and you hear the stitching come off. It's just Velcro. Like, you mean like the Velcro shoes we had as kids?
I was thinking about it after, because we brought it up. It was like, wow, but maybe it's so that way it's easy to apply on other outfits.
That's exactly what it is, because they do change things out. It just it was less dramatic than what you would assume. It's also less dramatic in many ways because he doesn't want to do it. You know what I mean?
No, he doesn't want to.
Yeah, Cox does not want to.
Yeah. That was rough. All right. So that now we see in front of everyone now. They're near the chopper. You got Rafi there. Ben. Of course, we got James Reese. He's standing with the chopper, but they're in front of all the soldiers, and everyone's giving them like a hoorah goodbye type of thing. Which I was also surprised because the seamen. But I was surprised that they were going to do that. Because just by peeling this off and just sending them on their way, and after the Cox gave that whole speech about them letting them down, that type of deal, you would have think he said, all right, everybody, back to the barracks or whatever, and then send these guys on their way. But but they let them say this goodbye and shout out their name.
Again,
And
these are special forces.
yeah,
Again, I've never been in special forces, but they play by different roles, and you can tell that Cox was also more than likely he was also a Navy SEAL at one time, just by the demeanor and what he talked about leading up to it. So
isn't that how it's supposed to work? Isn't that like the policy, or I would think that's how it works. You work your way up to that position. To bring somebody from the outside just seems wrong, because it's like you don't know our ways, you don't know how things work.
It's hard to say. I remember again the TV show.
In the comments, if you guys out there in the military are aware, can someone from the outside jump in at that high title, or is that something that you have to work up? It's a promotion.
Well, no, they do have other people that were not SEALs that are in their command structure. But a lot of times the direct, like the direct one, I believe, was a SEAL at one time. Once you get to the admirals, and I believe the captains, that's where, because again, a commander is below a captain, if I am correct, in the Navy.
Okay, all right. So they're getting on the chopper, and then this is where Edwards gives back the book, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't need this anymore." And what was that picture? Remember, that was a Bigfoot.
It was Bigfoot. And he makes a comment to his genitalia that his actual size.
Yeah, he said that's his actual size.
But I totally missed it. Again, we're watching on a smaller screen. We're not watching on the big screen. At least I'm not. You have like a big giant, 84-inch like monitor.
Right. It's massive. It's massive VR, 3D effects. Oh, it's amazing.
That's why Adam was shocked. He was like, "Whoa, that's big!" I was like,
telling you, it almost came out and poked me in the eye. I was like, "Oh, what did I just see?" Oh. It was fantastic. But that also shows that Ben still has some humor with all this. Like, he has no regrets for what he did, taking that guy out. No regrets.
Well, first off, the guy had already, the awful stuff that he had done, but the stuff that he also said.
Oh, he was mouthing off.
Yeah.
He was.
Now, you're telling trained killers this type of stuff.
Yeah.
This is not stuff that you're gonna, again, like.
I mean, the only thing I could say, I feel like a lot of this, especially from we saw with Terminalist and here and how they present the packaging, it seems to be straightforward and by the book, how the soldiers act, the terms they use. And I bring that up because I'm not sure if a target, like you just mentioned, surrounded by these trained military officers, would mouth off that reckless. Like, do you really think that not one of them is just going to say, you know what? I got another gun that's not, put him down. Yeah, he grabbed the weapon. There you go. Drop it next to him. Let's walk away. I just don't think that would be the case. I think whoever would be terrified, right? Because they were like, I don't know what's going on. They weren't expecting this raid. And then just, stay quiet and say, yeah, he's kept mouthing off saying CIA, CIA. Then that should be enough. That should be enough.
The thing about it, these are the worst of the worst, and they're being protected by the CIA.
Yeah.
So why they have no reason, again, we are meant to believe that our military follows orders directly. And I've known more than a few people in special forces that say, you don't want to know things that we've had to do.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
And they're absolutely correct. Like, I don't.
No, we don't.
They're there to protect me.
That's it. That's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of that, then we jump to Frankfurt, right? People know Frankfurt. That's in Germany, but they know where it is. But it's also a big military base. At first, I thought that's where they were, but no, it's the airport because they're going to do a layover to get to O'Hare in Chicago. So,
well, that's probably why they were there, because there's a military base. So they were probably sent over to Frankfurt, and then they were waiting on their plane, which gets delayed.
Yeah.
But I like this because I think as first we see Edwards sitting there, and he is very observant of everything that's going on around him, right? He is, and this is things that I've talked to people about, that they said, yeah, like this is This is what you're trained to do. You're trained to see everything that's going on around you. And that's exactly what he's doing. And then it goes to Hastings, who is on the phone with his father. And this is where we kind of find out that he's a lifer. He's probably some sort of army brat, military brat, whatever you want to say.
Is that the term for it? Because I always felt army brat meant like you had to travel, but you weren't in the military. You had no desire for it, but you had to go wherever your parents who were in the military had to go.
Well, no, he would have started out as an army brat.
Oh, yeah.
And then became, and again, I don't want to upset any Marines that were Marine brats. Maybe military brat is the right one.
Military brat, right? All right.
But again, when you say
why
army,
are you offended everybody? Why are you saying just army? I was like, what?
Well, the reason why I corrected you when you said soldier is because a Marine is not a soldier. A seaman is not a soldier. A soldier is specifically for the army. And some of them will get upset over it. That's the only reason why I corrected you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. All right. Now we know. And knowing it's half the battle.
Yeah. But again, when you say soldier, again, when you're using in a generic term, then people should understand what you're saying, but some people get really upset about it. And I didn't serve, so I can't say that I would get upset.
But you know who else got upset? Hastings' dad. And he said, we're going to fight this.
Yes.
He kept saying, we're going to fight this. And Hastings said a great line. He was like, yeah, all the fighting's already been done. Like, we're done. We're done with the fighting. Yeah. And I hope we find out more. We sort of found out a little bit, he said, when he was telling James why he already wanted out. But I think he's just tired of it. And maybe this wasn't the life he wanted completely for himself. Maybe he did, but then while I'm thinking about that and hearing the tone and all the stuff with his dad, as we get to the episode later in the episode with the pool and all that, sort of makes it seem like, no, he still has it in his gut. Sort of like the Rocky Balboa, where he's like, I still got it in me. I got one more in me. I feel it was the same thing with him. Like maybe a part of him was like, I want out. I don't want this anymore. But then once reality starts hitting, like, wow, I'm going back to, civilian life.
And you mentioned athletes that,
yeah.
They're a lot of them are retiring early 30s, and it's all they've known. They've made millions of dollars. It's what they were meant to do, right? They've been doing it since they were kids. Professional wrestlers, and because that's something you can continue to do into your 50s.
Oh yeah.
Because again, I'm not going to say it's fake because it's not, but it is choreographed, right? Like,
you could take the bumps, and there's ways to work around the older guys who can't take.
So like, if your ankle is bad, your knee is bad, the person you're going against understands that, and you work around it, right? A lot of these guys, they have nothing else going. Very few people are Barry Sanders, where they quit and then they're done. They don't want to come back. They don't ever try and come back. Boxers can't do it. Wrestlers can't do it.
That's why it's good to get a good financial planner and have somebody put some investments for you. And that's what you find out. Like, if they're like, oh, he's missing, he's MIA. And then you find out that he's limited up on some yacht somewhere. It's like, what the hell? He's rich from all that, but he made some good investments. And next, he owns a chain of Papa John's, like with Shaquille O'Neal and stuff like that, But
when you're doing like this, special forces, like it is what you've done your whole life.
Yeah.
But I can see exactly how, if you're a lieutenant, you've obviously been there for quite some time. You might just be done. Like every mission, again.
These are dangerous missions. These are
every time I go on skateboard, I know that there's always a chance I could get hurt, but I'm also not taking bullets at me, right? There's a huge difference, right?
Yeah.
So
before we go any further on that, because we're actually jumping a little bit, but it was just the messaging. We're just trying to get into Hastings' head here. But Ben walks over to the bar, but before he did that, he did two. Right? He goes over to the bar. He went and got some drinks. So was it beforehand? No, actually, it was before that, because he was telling him, he's like, hey, I got some plans of things that we can do.
No, it was after this talk, and then
was
he's
it
like,
after the school?
Yeah, because he's like, you know what? We're staying rooms on me. And he goes to a really nice hotel.
Mm-hmm. That's right. He said, we're going to stay rooms on me. And then he says, there's some things that and then they head over to the hotel, talks about some of the things that they can do, get some Vespas, right? Some motorcycles, drive around. They can go on a romantic ride.
About 2 Vespas. He's like, hey, if you don't feel comfortable driving or riding one, you can sit behind me on mine.
Yeah.
He said it's wonderful. And this is the most romantic thing. They can go not kayaking.
Down a Riviera or
Yeah.
something like that, some kind of cruise thing. I mean, he's trying to really liven things up because he sees this is tough him. And then he even says it also. He's like, he doesn't regret what he did, but he regrets what happened to Hastings.
Yeah.
Like this is bothering him. And then Hastings was like, well, the only thing that's bothering me right now is how Amy's going to feel with the bill because this hotel is super expensive.
Yeah.
He says, don't worry about it. He says, the next 12 drinks or whatever are on me, right? To that type of thing. Just keep drinking them and I'll be right back. And then he goes over to the bar. And that's when the show really kicks in.
Yeah. And that's when we actually meet Jed Haverford.
Yeah.
Now,
CIA.
He doesn't say his name. And we'll find out shortly. We don't even know if that's his real name. At least that's what Hastings has to say. But he sees Edwards there. He says, "Hey, drinks are on me," and he says, "Hey, thank you for what you did. Thank you for your
service. Yeah, thanks for your service."
And that's when he's like, "Oh, is that obvious?" But then he kind of lets him know, like, "I know exactly what you guys did, and that was a professional job, right?"
He said, "Could you cut the zip ties?" He said, "Yeah, it was a good job, pro job. You cut the zip ties." And he was, "What? Excuse me." Go ahead.
No, that's it. Like.
That's it. We did it. Hey. No, but you're right.
End of episode. We'll see you guys next time.
It was short. They learned from Murderbot, which was like 15, 16-minute episode. Oh man. But no. So he cuts it. He was like, wait, what's going on? And then the guy said that there was somebody that was in that room that survived and gave the full report. And he said the reason why you didn't hear about it from your commanding officer is because we had that wiped. My team had this wiped. And so this is how things are going to go now. And pretty much doesn't say CIA. We find out a little later, but we get the idea. He's part of the agency because that's one of the things Ben brings up. And what he needs is their main target, right? Dawawi, I think that was it. I'm probably butchering the name, but he was the big target that they were talking about before.
Denawi.
Yeah, you
said it right.
See, damn, look at that. Right? Bing, bing, bing. I'm going to get a little bell for that. I almost trigger that. Right. Got one right. So he says, hey, listen, that is still the target that we have. And he's going to have a meeting in Europe. And we need him assassinated. We need somebody to go in. First he says 2 people. And I'm sure he said 2 because, whoa, surprise, surprise. You got 2 good soldiers right here. Or, Navy men or SEALs. Seamen here on premise. So he says, yeah, this is what we need. And he offers a sweet deal. He was talking about the things that they can get. They could also get an honorable discharge and a few other perks with this. So he's like, all right, well, he goes back. Right. Well, go ahead. What did you think of that? Did that make sense? This is pretty quick. But I thought it was subtle, but this was how it would be done, right? It's like he just confronts me. He knows he's going to be at Frankfurt for the layover, so it makes sense. It's not like out of the blue he just pops up. He doesn't have to follow them. He knows they have to go there, and that flight got canceled. Now it makes me wonder: did they cancel it?
That's once you brought it up again, we know that there's certain agencies in our government that can make things happen.
They can make things happen.
And this guy Aaron Fuller, he was the CIA agent that wanted their tridents. Well, there's people above him, and this guy is clearly above him. He says the agency. I don't think they ever say the CIA. And again, that's assuming there's other agencies, maybe even part of the CIA, but part of the government, whatever, that do things that you can't really talk about.
There was another show. It was called The Agency. Showtime. Paramount. It's a Paramount show. The Agency and that's the CIA, but they called it The Agency. So that's why
I'm sorry. There was another show that came on Netflix around the same time.
The Bureau. Was it The Bureau? The French one?
No, it's the one. It's the one where the guy he just answers the phones.
And we talked about that. The guy the Night Watch or something like that. The
Night Watch. Night Watch. Yeah. I work with that guy.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Hey, look at that.
I remember the guy. He looks just like him. He's super tall like him and everything.
Now that we know is not real. That was not a real position. For those who didn't watch real quick, it was just a guy that was in, what was it, the White House in the basement standing by a phone in case any of the informants ever needed help.
And they'd have like a certain...
Yeah, it's certain they need a certain code with
It was
them.
a fun show.
Yeah, it was interesting. Another one was Fubar, and that got canceled. I'm just bringing it up because it's relevant with spy and military and stuff. That's the Arnold Schwarzenegger show, Netflix. They killed it. It was fun. It was a fun show. 2 seasons, but now it's gone. So just bring that up real quick. But anyway, so we got Rafi hanging out with Ben, and as we'll just say Jed, because at this point we still didn't know his name, but we do at the end, so we'll just say it.
Yeah.
And now he's filling them both in on this mission, telling them all the details. And that's when he came up with, hey, you get the honorable discharge. We'll get you this and that. Think about it. This puts you back on the field. And Ben says, yeah, he sounds like he's cool with it, but Hastings not so much.
Yeah, Hastings says, I'll let you know in the morning. He walks away, and then that's when Jed, he says, don't you want to go think about it? He's like, I don't need to think about it. He can make up his own mind what he wants to do. He knows that he wants to finish this.
See, and this is where some people watching this, if let's say they're not in the military, or even if they are, just think about this. From what we understand, Hastings, single man, no kids, none of that stuff, right? But it looks like Ben had someone waiting for him. Amy, right? We don't know.
So his wife is, I can see his wife here on IMDb. Amy Edwards is just a voice.
There you go. She's just a voice, but he has someone waiting for him. You would think the person that has someone waiting, just like we heard from one of the other members of the team. Remember when Reese showed up with the picture and he was like the wife and the whole thing, he's like, and he was getting all emotional. He wants to go home. You would think that the person with the family, the wife, Ben, would want that, but no, he's no. Let's go back. Let's finish this.
These guys are trained. Yeah. I mean, it's what they do. If you're in any special forces, but if you're a Navy SEAL, you are wired different than the rest of us. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You're wired differently. I don't see how you can't be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he knows. That's what he knows what to do. It's probably the only thing that he knows that he's good at.
That's true. I mean, he's good at it, and then he also knows the target. And that was the other thing.
And he has something on his mind. And I think a lot of it has said, hey, you know what? We'll get you back to your teams. Because let's say he doesn't get dishonorably discharged or court-martialed, which would be worse. He's going to be scrubbing decks. He's going to be on a boat until his tour is done, right? Until he's done, he's going to be on a deck, not doing what he was trained to do.
That is true.
So,
all right. So I think this is when we see Rafi out in the pool. Beautiful pool. This hotel, man. That pool is definitely not for kids. Most hotels have a big open pool.
Yeah, this is a very expensive hotel. So clearly, when Hastings made a comment to Edwards about it, he wasn't joking. And again, maybe this is where Reacher learned how to swim, because this guy was swimming.
There you go. They all learn the ways. But I think I would like to see a swimming race between Hastings and Jack Reacher, and see who would win across that canal there.
It's Reacher, because I mean, he just goes in his underwear. He doesn't have his little goggles on.
No, he would do butterfly strokes the whole way with his head turned, looking at Hastings, maybe taking a breath here or there, not really thinking about even breathing, because that's not a requirement for Reacher. Nope, not really. He could just take one breath and he's good for at least an hour. But
if anyone is wondering what we're talking about, we did Reacher over on a different channel.
The Coalition, but we still have the audio on this one if you want to hear it there. But also on the Coalition, you can see.
And in Reacher, he swims across a lake. We don't know how big the lake is, but this guy over here,
he did it twice in one night. Twice in one night.
I'm not disagreeing. You really got hung up.
Because they show the waves. It was heavy current. They're like smashing against the rocks. I can understand if it's still water and if it's short. No, you from standing at the shorefront, you can't even see land on the other side. That's how far this was. And they just like, no, we're gonna make him swim both ways at night. And he's not gonna get fatigued at all. Now, Now pop up and like, oh, my arms. Oh, I need to rest. Nope. Maybe 10-minute talk with somebody and back in the water. Whatever.
Just so you know, when we eventually get monetized, I'm just going to bring up Reacher Swimming just so we can add a couple minutes onto it to make a few more sense with
That's so crazy. Yeah, I'm telling you. You know what? When we get to, I'm gonna ask to do an interview with Mr. Ben Richards or Rickerson over there. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna ask him, what did you think of that? I don't care what season they're on. If it's like 4 or 5, hey, you want to talk about that? Yeah, we could talk about that. But let's go back to season 3, episode 2. You know, I'm going to bring that up, and then they're gonna cancel. They're gonna.
He did play Aquaman. He did play Aquaman. So.
Yeah, but so did Jason Momoa, and he's not pulling that on the Chief of War that I'm covering with Josh. You know,
what's he gonna like? What's he gonna?
He did attack. He did fight a shark. He did kill a shark with his bare hands. So. Maybe that's one's up swimming across a big canal, but you know what? Let's
no, not maybe. I didn't know he fought a shark with his bare hands.
First episode, he jumps off a boat. This is how they used to fish. He jumps in. They put a bunch of fish guts around to lure the shark. The shark comes over, and when it goes to bite the fish, the guts, he grabs a rope and puts it around within its mouth and is holding onto the fin and just going with this shark. And then he has a little pouch with some like poison or whatever, shoves it in the gills, and that kills the shark. And then it floats up, and then they wheel it onto the boat. That's how they went and killed the shark. That was Jason Momoa, Chief of War. All right, there we go. See, quick synopsis there.
All right, I need to start pre-screening TV shows that do not have swimming in it with you.
That's it. I don't know. I know how to swim too. I don't know. But anyway, I just know I can't swim like that. But see, there we go. We drifted, but
Michael Phelps can't swim like that.
Right, it's true. So Ruffy gets out the water. We got Jed standing there, and he says, "I see why you're swimming this hard." He's linking this to that same thing I talked about with Rocky. He's like, "It's still in your gut, right? You know, this is how you're trying to get out. But I'm telling you, civilian life is not for you. It wasn't for me. This is why I jumped back in. You know, you need to go back and you need to finish. You know, this is something. This was your mission." And that you were supposed to go and handle it, and you didn't. And now I'm giving you the opportunity to jump back in, you know. And he throws in some more low blow jabs when he starts talking about the dad. He's like, "Oh, I know about what your family did, and especially your dad. You know, South Africa. I know about the Hastings and all that stuff." So he's like, "This is in your blood. You need to do this." He's really pulling this guy to jump in, and well, he does. He does.
I'm gonna let you go.
What is he like? So
we get Edwards talking to his wife quickly. She basically wants to come back. He's like, "Hey, I have this one thing to do, that I'm coming back." Now, again, hey, spoiler alert, I don't believe that he is married in the terminal list, so I don't think it works out.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, big spoiler right there. I mean, that could apply. No, it's all right, because that can apply to some other characters that are around here that we shouldn't even bother bringing up, really, because that would be a spoiler.
Yeah,
you know. But yeah, and she's not happy with it, and I think, you know, makes sense. Why would you, you know? But whatever, he's doing it. So they meet up with the guy, and it's like, "Yeah, we're in. It's gonna happen." So then,
Hastings tells them, like, he's like, "I'm in, but you have to do this by the rules."
Come on now.
No, remember, Edwards already asked, "What are the rules of engagement?"
Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah. Go ahead.
He hasn't asked them what the rules of engagement are, and
and here we go. We got it. We got Jed's answer. So here we go.
Rules of engagement. Flexible.
That's the answer everyone wants to hear for any role. It's like, "Hey, I gotta do this big project. I don't know if I'm gonna do it exactly the way you want. We're flexible." Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, so this is why I bring this up, because Jed's telling them flexible rules of engagement, but then you hear Hastings telling Ed, "I want everything done by the book. I don't want what happened before happen here." Well, technically that could happen here, and it would be fine.
There is no by the book, right? Like, he told them what needs to be done.
Yeah.
They needed the phone. That's what we find out.
Yep, they need the phone. Assassination, everybody, no witnesses, get it done. They don't care. So, but yeah, so we see it's the next day. They head off to some big
The
house,
safe house.
right? Nice big safe house. They go in. The Jed's outside on the phone talking to someone else, and then he sees them. He's like, "Oh, hey, just go in, go see Tali." And they're like, "Okay." They go in. She's there at a desk. She introduces herself. Hastings makes a little comment about her accent. She's like, "Are you Israeli?" And then she was like, "Well, what about yours?" You know, that type of deal. I was like, "Well, what does it matter?" And I think it's more of he found an issue with this. I didn't even think too much of this, but maybe others. He was like, "Is this a joint operation? You know,
Okay.
are we working with another government, another country on this?"
I don't know if you didn't, you might have missed it. Hastings says earlier on, you don't have the same feeling about the CIA that I do. Something to that effect. Something with his family. So there is a reason, and I find this kind of funny because it's like he was the calm one when he was sitting in there, and he kind of knew, but he has an issue working with the CIA, or at least that's how I gathered it. Maybe I'm wrong. So if you guys are like, no, you totally missed the point. It feels like he's had dealings with the CIA at some point.
Something I'm sure it'll play out. I'm sure more will come out about this because
Yeah.
it definitely has more of an interesting. Like we're hearing the backstory with Ben Edwards through this whole series here, but now we're learning more about Hastings and it's trickling around. And yeah, it could be some connection because he did have some questions and concerns because as she asked for their IDs. And he looks at it he's like, "Don't worry, you'll get it back when you're done." And you brought it with like it's like prison or something. It's like, oh, it's like you drop off. What movie was that? Oh, Austin Powers. Remember all the stuff he got back when he got out, when he from being frozen and the whole thing, and he had like an enlargement pump and all kinds of. It was just.
And she does ask for Edward's ring, which I still thought like they've been in the desert. Like there's gonna be a suntan there. It's going to be noticeable that it's not there if somebody looks.
Yeah, but I guess it's more of just type of thing of like leave it behind so no one even thinks about it. But then again, if they're at we see
they had to go somewhere. They didn't want to be.
Yeah.
They went undercover.
Went undercover. But they go to speak with Jed. Go ahead.
Oh well, he kind of gives the rundown of the operation. That there's somebody, they can't take any weapons in there, but they will have somebody in there that will give them 2 veterinarian guns.
Are they veterinarian? He called vets. Is that what that was?
I thought it said veterinarian guns. Where they have 5 shots each. And she hands him one of them because they were kind of like 5 shots. They're like, it's heavy. Why this? She tells him to fire it. He fires it into a mattress, and it's super quiet. It looked like it had very little kickback also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, little kickback was so quiet. It sounded as if it had a silencer on it, but that's just how they are stock. So very cool. So he's like, okay.
But they don't know who it is. And they said, you'll find out. And this is kind of like, again, as they give the rundown of what they need to do, this is kind of where, Hastings asks, like, wait, we're going in tomorrow? And he's like, it's not like, we don't have the luxury of a long drawn out breakdown like you guys.
Yeah. He said, well, we're drawing a picture before we even get a canvas.
Yeah. So we're going right in. Then he hands him some money, if I'm correct, and says, you need some better clothes.
Better clothes. You need a watch because they're going to this nightclub. The guy is a big fan of a particular female DJ and travels all around to see her performances. And he's going to be at the club. The club checks for weapons. So he should be unarmed. They're going to have that somebody on the inside giving them those vets.
Yep.
Finding those weapons. And that remind me of what was it? Was it Godfather, right? With the bathroom?
Yeah. Yeah, very much.
Yeah, and put the back. So it's like, don't worry, the weapon's already inside the building. So there we go. That was pretty, it's already leading up at this point. If somebody was like, I don't know if I'm going to keep watching this already pulls you in because you're like, all right, something's going to happen. Something's going to go down.
Again, Not a lot of filler. I mean, I think everything that is so far that's been addressed, I think it's leading somewhere. It's telling us something about the character,
Mhm,
about
mhm.
the mission that's being done. So I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, yeah, no. And then so they show up at the club, right? Typical rave club type of thing. You shout out saying, "Oh man, I want to see what you
Uh,
call it,
uh, I couldn't tell you if it's a typical rave club. I can only imagine it is.
well, not even a rave club. It's just, I guess, a club, Euro club or whatever. And you were talking about, what was it, Blade? He was like, oh, we should see Blade here.
I was
Right?
waiting for Blade to show up.
Blade to show up because he does all this killing in that, and I was expecting John Wick, but then again, John Wick is here because it's Ben Edwards. Man, he looked like John Wick, Keanu Reeves. Oh, with the suit, the
Yeah,
hair, the
there is
lighting,
a
the
point
music.
that I definitely saw it.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely. This is it. He's there. They got the music pumping. He's got the gun. Once he starts pointing it, I'm telling you, if you took a freeze frame and showed it to somebody real quick, what's this? Oh, that's John Wick, man. That's Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah.
Wrong. Give me your money. You just lost. All right. But yeah, so they're in the club. Stuff is going on. They
We see
find
them
out Tally
scouting
is
everyone out. They're scouting everyone who has who's probably working
that
for him,
was
who their
great.
bodyguards are.
That was fun. That was fun. Because he was like, oh, the guy with the coat, he's definitely packing because it's too hot to wear that.
All right.
Like,
So this is the point that we're gonna ask. We are over halfway through the show. Are we the only people that when we hear Hastings, Tom Hopper, all we hear is Chris Hemsworth, Thor? He sounds exactly like him.
mm-hmm.
His cadence, everything. And I believe we mentioned it on the other episode. But he sounds so much like him. Like if they said, hey, you know what? Chris Hemsworth is not going to be Thor. We have recast Tom Hopper to be it. He just has to bulk up a little bit, but he's actually taller than Chris Hemsworth by a couple inches. But I don't think people would even notice.
If someone was just listening to the show, let's say two screenings, just looking at their phone and hearing it, and they know that one of his brothers are in it, so like, oh, that's his brother. That's his brother. Wrong. Look at the screen, buddy. That's not his brother. His brother is like not even in this episode. At least I didn't see him.
I think he's in right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, well, in that room, he was in that meeting that they had, but that was it. He's not playing a big part for the rest of it. But yeah, so they start pointing that out. Then Ben brings this up. He was like, look at the bartender. He's got cauliflower ears, and the whole thing. I was like, okay, you can go with that. Yeah, I can buy with that.
Notices a jacket that's way too hot, stuff like that.
Yep. It's cool. They're going through it, and we got Tully. She's Tully, right? I said that.
No,
Tully.
No. This is Eliza Parrish. She's the waitress.
No. But still, we have the Tully on the left because she has a CCTV. She's the one telling.
Well,
she said yeah. That's why I'm trying to remember because she starts talking in her earpiece saying the target's going to be in the VIP area in the back.
Yeah.
So they can keep their eye out, and they're like, okay, we see it. It's like, yeah, that's where they're going to be. So get ready. And then that's when they start trying to just survey the area and see who they have to deal with. And then there you go. Then there's the waitress that shows up.
And she comes over and she starts talking to him, but also says, I need your credit card. We need to make this look, official. So it's not like, why do you just give? And it says, you guys look like cigar guys. Now, I don't know if you figured it out. I figured out right away that the box was going to have the guns in it.
Yeah. Because this is when she starts speaking English.
It's too hard to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, she was very upfront. She was like, "All right, you're going to drink this beer." I don't remember them ordering anything, But yeah, like you said, she said, "We're going to keep this up front. All right, you're going to make it seem like you're going to pay. Here's this is and that. Your cigar guy, start smoking, and get ready." That's it.
This is where we need a spoof of this TV show in a movie form or whatever, where they give one of those like, remember the crayon boxes we had as kids, and you'd have the erasers and the pencils.
Yeah, and you got the sharpener in the back. At the back. I mean, that thing it was a Swiss Army knife for kids. We had every crayon under the sun there.
And that would be like one toy in it that you would have in there.
Man, right? To dump all that stuff out, put my trading cards in there. I was like, I don't play with crayons.
And it had
my baseball cards go. But
hold on, wait.
Yeah.
The mixture of a of all the crayons, created one of the most awful smells ever.
You had them melt? Because I mean, I've had that
Well,
too
no,
many times.
just them all together. Eventually, that Crayola
Oh.
smell, it was awful. Anyway,
Yeah, I'll see if I can find some. I know my kids have some somewhere in their room. I'll grab it. They don't use it anymore. They do everything digital now. So crayons, what's this? Gets my hands dirty, Dad. What are you doing? But there we go. But she tells him the big piece of information here, which is she's going to spike his drink once he comes in, because she already knows what the other guy wants to drink, right? Vodka cranberry. And she's going to spike the other guy's drink. That's going to make him sick. He's going to want to go to the bathroom. And then that's when they get to do their business with him in the bathroom. Bada boom, bada bing. Mission's over. Everybody goes out. It's Miller time. But we know it's not going to play out that way.
No, not at all.
No. Yep. So the dudes show up, and already things have gone south, because they first have 2 guys with them and another few in the back. And you know what? Security's letting them walk in with their weapons. Yeah. He's not taking anything. He's like, all right, so these guys, they're armed. They're coming in hot. All right, here we go. They go down. They sit to the table. Waitress goes over for her cue. She says, hey, vodka cranberry. Yep. You know what I like. All right, there we go. And you, what do you want to drink? Nothing for me. Okay, that's the wrong answer, buddy. Listen, everything is on the house. He's paying for everything.
Yeah.
No.
Very adamant. And again, even as we're watching the show, I thought she's being a little too demanding.
Too pushy. Yeah. I mean, if anything, say, listen, I know this amazing drink that everybody, I don't know, try to spice it up. Don't just keep saying, you want a drink? You want a drink? It's free. Come on now. This guy doesn't care about free. He's not like, oh, really? How much is this drink? No, it's not going to bother me. Plus, remember, they're making a big money deal. He's buying weapons and stuff, right? That's the whole thing. It probably doesn't want to spend that much time there. He wants to go in, go out, put your phone down. Let's make this transaction. Let's get this over with. So that's what's happening here. The guy puts his phone. They both put their phones down. They're getting ready to do the transaction. Ben calls over on the headset to Jed. He's like, hey, it's going down. This is happening. So they have to figure something out.
Yeah, and so she comes back and with the drink and is very pushy about it. And this is where he figures everything out, and he flat out tells her, one I can overlook, now twice, he knows something's going down. Basically tells her to drink it, and then she finally agrees to do it. Knowing she has so much time to get back before she passes out and blows the assignment or whatever.
Where else have you seen this happen? Or something similar in another movie? It was not a show. It's in a movie. Come on, quick. They referenced it early in this episode with the guns. James Bond.
Oh,
remember there was a scene at Casino Royale. James Bond goes in and he starts playing some game or whatever, and then he gets drugged, and he realizes that he's been drugged. So he steps away like he has to go to the bathroom, but he runs to the car because he's fainting. He's about to die, and he takes out some little syringe or something, and then he injects himself, and then he heals up. He's almost swayed. Then he wipes off, and then he goes back, and the person that drugged him is in shock because he should have just died. And then he plays cards like nothing happened. He just had to go and deal with it. And that's what I got. Once this happened, because I knew it, she said it. She's like, once a person drinks this, they're going to have to go to the bathroom. But the one thing that sort of messed this up, it happened so quick that let's say the guy had drank this, and just collapsed, he wouldn't have made it to the bathroom.
That's what I was thinking too. Unless if because he's a bigger guy compared to her, that it was just going to go through. But again, she knew she had a limited amount of time, where if he would have taken it, he wouldn't have known that he had to go to the bathroom. He probably would have started feeling dizzy and everything. She knew right away. And this is where Edwards jumps in, and he's pretty much made. Because he's trying to jump in there. She's trying to get far enough away that no one can see.
Yeah, she's stumbling.
There's so many people there.
I loved his encounter response when he meets up with her. He says, friendly. I'm going to start saying that now. Whenever I come close to my wife somewhere, I'm like, friendly. Just so she knows. I mean, it's not like she's going to think someone else, but still, I like that. I'm going to start saying that everywhere. Friendly. Come real close. When we hang out that day, I'm going to walk up to you out of nowhere. I'm like, friendly. and then you're still gonna punch me, and then that's how it pans out. You're like, I don't believe it. It's bullshit. All right, so let's see, where are we up to? Oh yeah. So the Rafi says, "Hey, you've been made," and this guy didn't just make you. He's walking towards you, like the back area, because it looks like they. What was that? That was like a. At first I thought it was a storage room, but then there was like a table with lights and stuff, right? It's some kind of.
There was no one
area.
there. That's all I know.
Yeah, there was nobody there, and no one cared that they walked in this back room. So no security, no locked doors. Not sure, but whatever. They're back there, and this guy's getting close real quick.
Not that quick. Like,
Well,
they made it there that quick. He takes this. Like, there's a lot that happens by the time that guy should have been there.
I guess, yeah, you're right. Because I think this also when Rafi mentioned, I wrote down 4 guys because he mentioned like 4 more are in the club.
There was enough time to give her a drink to throw up so she could be useful again.
That is true. I thought I didn't understand that about the drink either, because I figured he was just gonna like shove his finger down her throat to get her to throw up, you know. Because he said, "Yeah, drink this," and then she started puking. I was like, well, "What did he give her? Like, it must have been a really bad mixer. I don't know."
Yeah, a couple of flaws I would say here, but anyway.
Yeah.
But this is kind of when the team, like, they're just in action now. And, like, this is where, you know, we're hitting the end of the episode, and they're in, you know, full force to take out everyone, and then get to this guy.
Yep, the guy comes in, right? Ben takes him out, like 1 down, more coming, and then Rafi comes over, and they get the waitress out. Then there's a whole firefight with the other guys, and I thought that was the alley already, but it's not. It was like just a front street.
So there's a little confusion. Like, you know, they get out. You know, the one girl had put a kill switch in, so when they get out, Denari, right?
Yeah,
Denari.
The car doesn't work. Yeah.
And they get out. Now they could have just shot him there. Because they could have had, again, at this point they're outside and they had a van there. They easily could have had weapons there. But
maybe that's not their job, or they don't feel comfortable doing that. There's a reason Jed hired Ben and Rafi. I'm
saying they could have got out there and got the weapons.
I mean, there's a lot of it. They could have put a grenade. You
but
know,
we see the girl. Well, okay, so the girl inside, Parrish, Eliza, she seems like she is very well versed.
Yeah.
Tal did not. She seemed like she was stuttering, trying to get the gun out or whatever. I was waiting for something bad to happen there, but it didn't. But they take out a couple guys, and then once they break away, I did find it interesting that Hastings said that he was going to go after Denari.
Yeah, that's why I was like, "Oh, this is not good," because everyone's dead. There's Denari went running off, and another guy, and that's when Tully calls in Jed and says, "Yeah, your dogs went on the hunt."
Yeah,
and he's like, "Good, you know." So they're out there looking for him,
and so they split up. And I loved what we saw, like how Ben handled it. He kind of knows the guys. Like, again, now it looks like some like,
because now they're in the alley. They're in the alley. They said, "Oh, now we're going to the alley." So
what is like almost like some like no-tell motel is what it looked like, the way the way the steps were. But he turns on the light so that he can see the shadow to kind of trick the guy, shoots him. This guy's he's already been shot, so he's hobbling around.
That was very cool.
Yeah, but then we see Hastings. I believe he took out his earpiece, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I remember right, he took it down. Yeah.
Yeah. So now they can't even communicate with him. You know, Edwards, he picks up the guy's gun that he shot him. That he shot. He's got 3 rounds. And you know, Hopper's there
because he calls up. He asks for where the location for LT, as he said. You know, for Hastings, and he was like, "All right, he's not too far." And I was getting nervous because I was like, "Oh man, is something gonna happen? Are we gonna lose Rafi now?"
And because I don't remember who was there in the beginning of the first episode, when they're at the funeral.
Yeah, the whole funeral thing. I don't recall that either. And
I kind of
that's
feel
what.
like it's Hopper. We'd have to go back and watch right at the beginning and see who's all there. Because I remember that Reese is there. I don't remember anyone else.
Yeah. Well, we definitely know now that it wasn't Rafi, because here he is. And he's still there. Yeah, Ben meets up with him, and he tells him, it took this guy. He's like, all right, good. All right, well, this guy's over this way. All right, and there's someone else. How much do you have? He's like, I have 3 rounds. Rafi has 1 round. Oh, man, not looking good.
But he's locked in. Denari's locked in. He can't get out. Edwards fires like the 3 shots to drag him out, and then he shoots.
Yeah,
they secure the phone,
and that's it. Yeah, they take him out, and then poof, we hear the bells and his elbow, and then the Metallica shout out. That's why I had to put the shirt on. I did not have this on, and I was like, yes, here we go. But it was good. I liked this episode, and I like this show.
I do too. Again, this one, I mean, I watched the Terminal List, and it's hard. I mean, because it's been over a year since I watched it. This one seems more, at least like right to
action. This is action right up front. With the Terminal List is more of a suspense thriller drama. You're trying to find out what's going on with him because of all the memory loss and that situation.
Once again, even as they explain things, I don't get filler. I don't get like, okay, this is going on too long. Yeah. I thought that all the stuff in the hotel when he's swimming, I thought it was the perfect amount of time. I think you and I both agree. There are certain things that go on too long. Like, I don't need the story building up too much. I brought up something to you, the movie Sinners, and you're like, what do you think about it? And I went, I don't know why it's getting like 98% Rotten Tomatoes. There was an hour and a half of character buildup. I didn't need that for what happens at the end of this.
Took too long for that.
And I don't want to spoil anything because it hasn't been out all that long. Mm-hmm. I thought the ending was awesome. I thought it was very unique, but there was an hour and a half of character buildup that I don't think that we needed that long, right? I don't think I'm getting there with this. Reacher had so much filler, and as much as we enjoyed Reacher, so much filler. Then you skip to Mobland. Mobland was like, if they said something in Mobland, they were going to address it.
It was relevant to everything. Yes. Yeah, every scene, everything.
And,
like, oh.
Yeah. And Murderbot, there was not enough time to do any filler.
They had to go boom, boom, boom. I remember we were looking at our notes, and it was like, we might as well have a book. And it was like, but it was only like 15 minutes because it was every scene was full of content, dialogue.
I'm convinced they recorded that whole series, that whole season in 7 days.
Baby. But hey, it got picked up. That's another one that got picked up. Mobland also got picked up for season 2. So that's great. Those two. All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us for all of this. If you made it this far, thank you again for that. Please click the like and subscribe because we are going to be right back within about an hour in your time for episode 3. And thanks again for checking us out. We also do Dexter Resurrection. We're following up on that. We got episode out now. Well, no, when this is done, when this is out, episode 8 will be there. Right, episode 9 comes out the end of this week of August here. So we have that, and then of course Josh and I are doing Chief of War. This one is the 27th, August 27th.
But
that's a Wednesday. That's a Wednesday. So that's what's going on.
A lot of stuff to be watching us.
Oh yeah, but good TV. There's good shows out there. I hate when I hear people saying there's nothing to watch, man. How you got a channel? What are you watching? What am I watching? We got all these great shows. What are you talking about? Dexter, and we got
TV. TV is no longer consumed the same way.
Exactly.
And I don't want to say that is an awful thing. It sucks in some ways because it was great to have something scheduled at, on Thursday at 9 p.m. that you were going to watch, or Wednesday at 8 p.m., which I believe when The Office was on, right? Or as a kid, right? You were waiting to get home to watch V, right?
Oh, man, that was a good miniseries. Those damn Litcher people.
And again, but TV is consumed differently now. And it's much shorter than it used to be, but there's still a lot of good stuff on.
Yeah. And I think it's just people don't know where to look. They're all on these different platforms. We didn't have all of that. If anything, remember the broad term was it's on cable.
Yes.
It's on cable. It's like, oh, okay, I have cable. All right, I'll flick through the channel. I'll find it. Thanks.
And sometimes it'd be like, oh, that's an HBO show. That's a Showtime show.
Mm-hmm,
but again, it was pretty much HBO or Showtime, right? Cinemax. But Cinemax didn't have shows per se.
No.
The same way as
they had Skinemax. Remember the after? That's how people watched it.
Cinemax late night. After dark.
Exactly. What, late night Saturday? If everybody's
was it? I thought it was Friday.
It was all the whole weekend at night. I don't know how I know that, people. All right, everybody. Thanks again. We'll see you in an hour, and thanks for all the support, people. All right, peace.